back inside the Now Morning Show, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you got your coffee, I hope you got your tea, and I hope you're not drinking alcohol, but we're going to talk about some alcohol drinkers this morning inside your Spotlight with Natalee.
All right, thank you so much for staying with us. It's the Now Morning Show. I am Natalee Legore. In today's Spotlight, the president of the Barkeepers and Operators Association of Trinidad and Tobago, Satesh Moonasar, just to give us an idea of what happened yesterday when the bars finally reopened for in-house drinking, of course, for those who are fully vaccinated and at 50% capacity. Good morning to you, Satesh.
Good morning, Natalee, and good morning, Trinidad.
Thank you so much for joining us. So just what's the feedback you've gotten about, how things turned out yesterday?
So far the feedback has been good. It has been a good reopening. It has been a slow start, where you'll see very few patrons coming out, but we are hopeful that things will pick up in the coming week. We all know that the Thursday is Diwali. So in the more central and south areas, you would see that more patrons coming out after the Diwali because it's fasting period. So hopefully coming on the weekend and in coming weeks, we should see a better turnout.
We know that over 600,000 people have at least gotten their first jab in Trinidad and Tobago, and over 500,000 plus with both jabs. So I thought that even though I expected a soft opening, that there would have been more people patronizing the bars because we have quite a bit of people who are fully vaccinated. Were you surprised by the low turnout of people to bars?
I'm not really surprised because of the situation in certain areas. And we know that we are still in a pandemic, so it will be a cautious and phased approach coming out. People will be a little timid to actually return, but we see the customers coming out. And we are hopeful that things will slowly move out to a situation where we could come back to some sense of normalcy. It will be a work in progress to reach that type of volumes that we used to have pre-pandemic. But we are grateful and relieved that we are able to open our doors once again and be able to earn a living.
Now, we know when schools just reopened, we had the idea of having that as kind of safe zones for the students or for those who are for only those who are vaccinated to join the physical classrooms. Does the Barkeepers and Operators Association wish that, we'd get to that point where we can have patrons, whether vaccinated or unvaccinated, patronizing the bars? Because as it is with the restaurants, we saw that we don't have the kind of crowds for people to make a proper profit.
Yes, we would be glad to be servicing the entire population of Trinidad and Tobago once again. But we understand that we are in a pandemic and we have to do this in a phased approach. And it's very difficult for us to tell our loyal customers who are unvaccinated at this point in time that they can't enter. It's a very difficult thing for us. But this is what is required of us at this time, so we need to do what is required of us and abide by the law. And hopefully soon, we should get back to the point of servicing the entire population of Trinidad and Tobago.
But have you gotten any feedback of that from bar owners or operators that their unvaccinated clientele or customers are coming out and wanting to patronize their establishments?
Yes, we have had reports of that people would like to come back out and patronize the establishments, but as the situation is concerning the pandemic and the requirements from us, it's a difficult situation, and it's very hard for bar owners to tell their loyal patrons who are unvaccinated at this time that they can enter. But again, we need to do what is required of us in this difficult time, and we are happy that we could have some sort of business going forward. Hopefully soon, as the vaccination levels increase, that we could soon serve the entire nation.
Now, the Christmas season is just around the corner. Do you think this will help to, get businesses up, get the numbers up, get more people coming out?
Yes, as time goes by, it's a work in progress. It's a very difficult situation for the wine industry. And we do anticipate in days as the days and weeks go by that things will get better. But it's a work in progress. It's something that the industry needs to rebuild, and it will take some time to rebuild.
I know
So
that
hopefully in the near future we should have some more to know.
I know that things have reopened, at least for those who are vaccinated, that they can have in-house drinking. Do we have all the bars reopened, or did we see some of them closing for good?
Well, at present, we have seen majority of the bars have reopened. Some have chosen to reopen on Friday coming after the Diwali holiday. But we need to differentiate the difference between the business entity and the actual persons running the business. Now, a lot of bar owners have lost their establishments to the point of bankruptcy in the hundreds. But what we have seen is that other entrepreneurs have stepped in and taken over these establishments. So in terms of the business entity itself, yes, the business entity will open, but it's to the demise of the pre-pandemic owners, which have already lost their entire life savings and establishment.
Yeah, and I know that has to be sad for some people because you lose all your savings, but then after it all, you still don't have a business. So let us hope that those people would have gotten the kind of relief that they needed, that the government was extending to those who are in need. So Satesh, a soft opening. And you raised this issue with me of having bars that were breaking the COVID-19 regulations, not for the first time, and you wanted to talk about that.
Yes, what we have seen a video circulating on social media over the weekend pertaining to this particular establishment. I cannot confirm or deny anything that was in that post, but what I can say that we have gotten reports of this establishment over the entire lockdown, where reports came on coming in from neighbors and surrounded by owners of this establishment operating, and this is something that we would not like to encourage. And reports were made, and we have not seen anything being done about it. And we need to do what is necessary in order to keep our doors open. What has happened in the past that a handful of bar owners have done and not abide by the rules and regulations, and videos have circulated, which was the demise of the entire industry, where the entire industry had to go back in lockdown. And what we are saying that lockdown is not an option at this point in time, and we need to abide by the rules. And any lockdown from this point on should be the lockdown of the rogue bar owners who choose not to follow the rules, and not the entire industry. We cannot have the majority of bar owners who are legal and law abiding have to return to any form of lockdown or shutdown because of the actions of a few. So what we are saying that these type of establishments need to be dealt with by the enforcement agencies, and so we can continue to have our doors open.
But you're saying to me reports were made and nothing was done. Reports were made to the police?
Yes, reports were made to us as the association. Also, reports were made to the police on numerous occasions, but nothing has been done concerning this. And this is not one isolated situation. We have reports of this through the entire country, and where reports were made to the CTPS, but we haven't seen any action on this. And this is an issue that we had throughout the entire pandemic, where certain establishments were allowed to operate as per normal, and basically nothing was done from the CTPS. So basically turn a blind eye to these establishments, while the others were forced into lockdown and to abide by the rules by the said CTPS. So this is a measure of concern. We have brought up this on numerous occasions with the former Commissioner of Police and the present Commissioner of Police, Deputy Commissioner of Police, and we hope to see some sort of enforcement on this going forward, because we cannot use the broad brush approach anymore. We are past that stage of lockdown, and this is the time where we need to deal with the establishments that choose not to abide by the rules, because they are law-abiding bar owners that cannot afford anything like this anymore.
Satesh, I'm very surprised to hear this, that, reports are made to the TTPS and it just did not act on it. But as the president of the association, have you made any attempts to reach out to these delinquent bar owners, these rogue bar owners, as you call them, or operators, to have a conversation with them about why they're breaking the COVID health regulations, which will put all other bars at risk?
Well, after the video that circulated this weekend, the owner of the establishment in question reached out to me yesterday, in which I had a conversation with them, and I did visit the location and had the conversation with them concerning the video. And I am committed to working with the entire bar industry to get it right. So this is a work in progress, but we still at the point where we cannot hold the entire bar industry that at the task on what a couple bar owners or restaurant owners are doing. So we need that level of enforcement because we cannot return to any form of lockdown. And we will continue to do our part to ensure that the bar sector and restaurant industry remains open.
If you had to hazard a guess, why do you think the TTPS has not acted on these reports, of these bars that are breaking the COVID health regulations?
We are not actually sure because we have made reports. Bar owners have made reports, and in some situations where we have witnessed it for ourselves from the association standpoint, we have made the reports as well too, but we have not seen the actions on these establishments. The only thing that comes to mind is that in certain areas the TTPS is turning a blind eye to the situation because we have seen it throughout the pandemic, not only now but throughout the entire pandemic, that certain particular locations are allowed to operate, and no one is doing anything about it. And as I said, we did mention this to the former Commissioner of Police and present Deputy Commissioner of Police, and we are hopeful that we will get some action on this because we cannot continue to operate like this, and then these types of videos and activities keep going out and gives the entire bar industry a bad name, and the legal law-abiding bar owners are made to go into lockdowns for these types of situations. So we are past that situation right now where lockdown is not an option. We cannot go back into any form of lockdown. So what we are saying that we need to get these types of establishments that choose not to abide by the rules. If any lockdown is to occur, it should be the lockdown of these and not the entire bar industry.
So you believe this can pose a risk to the bar owners that are trying to do the right thing?
Yeah, yes, and the entire pandemic, you have seen this happening because the last time we were allowed to open for any type of in-house consumption, you saw a couple viral videos that went around of a handful of bars, and this resulted in the curtailing of time for the bar and restaurant industry, and eventually into another lockdown again. So we have seen this happen in the past, and what we are saying that we are not going to sit idly by and see this happen again, because it was to the detriment of the legal law-abiding bar owners, and we cannot hold everyone accountable for what a few is doing. We need to hold them accountable for their actions.
But I mean, if the TTPS, according to you, isn't acting on these reports, you don't think that will encourage other bar owners to just break the laws as well?
Well, yes, I could say that because once surrounded bar owners see that these type of activities happening and nothing is being done about it, it poses a situation where everybody would not want to do it, and that has been to the detriment of the bar industry in the past. So we need to have this level of enforcement, as now we are in a phase zone situation, so it's a whole different structure than what happened in the past, and there's penalties accompanying it. So what we need to have now is proper enforcement of the situation, and so we do not return to any form of situation where the entire industry goes into a lockdown. This is something that we cannot afford, and the lockdowns now need to be with the rogue bar owners that are not actually following the rules and guidelines.
No, I know that the police and the public health officers they have the responsibility to do their checks and balances to ensure that nobody's breaking the public health regulations. But as an association, is there anything that you all have put in place to check on barkeepers and operators to ensure that they don't put the other bars who are adhering to the rules, put them at risk? Why do I keep saying risks?
From our situation, we continue to monitor what is going on in different areas of Trinidad and Tobago. And from the association standpoint, any information that comes in that we can verify and if that is relevant in terms of enforcement, we pass all that information to the CTPS, and that is as much as we could do. And we will continue to do our part in order to ensure that the bar industry stays open. So this is why we are calling for the proper enforcement of these situations.
All right, Satesh, we're going to have to leave it there, but thank you so much for speaking with us this morning, and let's hope that people really abide by the public health regulations so that the industry can take its time and rebuild.
Thank you, Natalie.
You're most welcome. Satesh Moonasar, President of the Barkeepers and Operators Association of Trinidad and Tobago. What do you make of it that, he's saying that you have some bars that are just floating the regulations, like this particular bar, he's saying he's gotten complaints right through the pandemic.
There have been places that have been doing things on the low throughout the whole pandemic.
It's ridiculous, right?
And there are some that, you see the reports in our newspapers every other day. and they are charged, but they continue to do it. So
Yeah.
it's
So what? Think
ridiculous.
the penalties aren't.
Like, the penalties aren't enough.
Well, you see,
Well,
there are
think
two
so.
penalties, right? There's the penalty that the law is going to enforce, and there's also the penalty of not eating. Because some people have no
This
other
is-
form of
yeah.
income, and their
This
place
is
of
fair.
business has been closed since however long. So at this
And
point,
the bars
they
over
are,
a year.
yeah,
in
they,
terms
so
of
they would.
the
Some people are
in-house
desperate
drinking.
to have some level of income. So they say, all right, well, if I could bend the rule a little bit and not open up to the public, but close my door and I could let people come in and buy a drink and go, or whatever the case is.
Yeah.
People have been trying different things to be able to
but
flaunt it.
is that right though? To say, okay, others are trying to abide. It's not that we're not hungry too. You know, so should
But everybody's situation is
should
unique.
circumstances be a reason to commit a crime?
It always is, though.
Really?
Do you remember the quote from the Resistance? I had the thief to put a bread on my table. You mock democracy, you mashing up my dignity. Like, the reality is that who feels it knows it, right? So if you're not starving, if you're not absolutely hungry to the point of where do I get a next meal from, you wouldn't understand. Like, we wouldn't understand.
No, you can't particular, Mr. Man.
No, I'm just saying. I'm not saying
Yeah,
that you've
I
never
was
been
about
there.
to
I'm
say,
just
I
saying,
say-
at this point in time, there are people who don't see another way.
I am
They
not
don't.
going
They
to
simply
say
don't.
that I've never been. I've been hungry where I couldn't find a piece of bread, but I've been in it for the last couple of years where I didn't know how I was going to pay my bills.
Yeah.
But it never ever, not once I ever thought that I needed to go on thief.
You see,
Well, this
that's
is what
the
I'm
thing.
saying,
What I
is that-
tried to do, I tried to pull every shift on the radio station.
Yeah,
I
that's
tried
an
to sell
option for you.
food. That's what I'm saying. To me, it's a choice.
I have to agree with Natalie. In some ways, it is a choice. I mean, I remember growing up, going through times where literally there was a family of 5.
Yeah.
And we would survive on one tea bag and slices of bread.
Yes.
And at the end of the day,
And what if you can't buy that tea bag or those slices of bread?
I never
If you
had no
have
tea bag
no
as a
income,
child. We
if you
had
have
the lime tree
zero,
round about.
Right.
but understand what I'm saying, Natalie. If you have zero income, zero prospect, zero possibility, and the world is in a pandemic where your options have become even less than they were before, your mindset is going to be very different. I assure you
So
of
you
that.
feel that's where those bar people were.
I
who
can't
break
say
in
that
the-
for sure. I'm not
I'm
defending the bar
even buying
people.
that for 2
Or you
seconds.
do better than that. But we take a quick break and come back with more in the Now Morning Show. Stay tuned. Me and you this hour.